I'm happy to see you again. I'm happy cause you are my friend. I haven't seen you for a long, long time. Still a wink, happy that you're doing fine. I'm happy to see you again. I'm happy cause you are my friend. I haven't seen you in a long, long time. Still a wink, happy to see you again.
Happiness is seeing a friend, seeing a friend. Happiness is singing the song, so won't you come on and say hello?
You know I'm happy to see you again. I'm happy cause you are my friend. I haven't seen you for a long, long time. Still a wink, happy to see you again.
Hey you guys, it's me, it's the Sassy Green Garden Diva. I am here, I am back. Happy New Year. This is my first video in since the new year. I have not come in and officially said that, but I want to come in and say that I got to say thank you to all of my subscribers that have been here from day one. Thank you to all those who have hung in there ever since. Thank you to my new subscribers. I rarely say that, but I feel the need to say it today. Thank you for coming. Thank you for commenting, watching, sharing. I appreciate you, I do. I really do. And I needed to say that. So listen, I made some promises. I'm going to be doing product reviews, but I did promise that I was going to do a weight loss intensive. I hadn't done that yet before I do anything else. Because I said I was going to do it. I want to do it, and I'm going to do it right here, right now. No beating around the bush. Let's get to it. Let's get it. Let's go. Okay. So, weight loss. What has it been like for me? What did I do? What were my achievements? What were my goals? Why did I do what I did? And how's it going so far? Okay, so all of that is in here. Now I'm going to skim over some things, and the reason why I'm skimming over some things is because I don't want to make this video too long, but I want to make it long enough for you to get the information that you need to get started if that's what your intention is. And I also want to come back at another point in time and touch on some of the things that I'm talking about today in more detail in another video. Is that all right? Okay, let's get in, let's go. All right, so weight loss. How did it happen for me? Where did I start? I was at 265 pounds. What was rock bottom for me? Rock bottom for me was one day I was in the bathroom, not at this house, at the house we were in before this one. I was in the bathroom and I noticed myself kind of leaning my shoulder up against the wall to get my arm so that I could take care of myself. And I thought, oh my God. Am I really that big? Have I gotten so big that I can barely wipe my own butt? Because I'm not about to call anybody else in here to help me. If I have to get a stick and wrap some toilet paper and pull a Steve Harvey and wipe my behind, that's what I would have done. But I wasn't about to call somebody in here to help me wipe my behind because I had gotten too fat to do so on my own. That was rock bottom for me. And I said, I've got to do something. You know, ever since my second child, because after my first child, I bounced right back to my size 8 jeans, no problem. But after my second child, my weight started picking up. I started out, before I got married, I was 135 pounds. Okay, so I need to say that too. Before I got married, I was 135 pounds and a size 8. After my second child, I did not bounce right back. And I was carrying 185, 190, and everyone was telling me, well, you don't look like you weigh that much, and you look good. You look good in your clothes. You know, no one would ever know that you weigh 190 pounds. And then the weight just started coming each year. 3 pounds here, 4 pounds there, 5 pounds here, you know. And I'd say on average, I probably gain about 8 to 10 pounds a year, if that much. But anyway, I ended up at 265 pounds, and at 265 pounds, I looked like I was about 15 months pregnant, and I was uncomfortable. This was the first time in my life that I was fat and uncomfortable, and I did not feel well. I felt sick. And my feet were always swollen. My legs were always swollen. I just felt sick and fat. I was fat, sick, and nearly dead. That's how I felt. And I decided I could not go on another diet. Why? Because I have been on so many diets. I went on a diet one time that put me in intensive care at Walter Reed Hospital on Georgia Avenue in D.C. I had a thing for laxatives. And I started out taking 2 laxatives. And I had a routine. I had this routine down. Sunday night, laxative. Monday, no food, Wrigley spearmint gum all day. That's it, that's all. Tuesday, grapefruit juice for breakfast that morning. When I got out from school, I got home exactly 3:20 p.m. every day. And I would go home, I would cut a hot dog in half, I would cut a piece of bread in half, I would take a cup of oodles of noodles and slice that in half, and I only had a half a cup of oodles of noodles, and I only had a half a hot dog with a half a piece of bread. That was my first meal on Tuesday, okay? After I did the laxative and so-called cleanse on Sunday night. Monday, no food. Tuesday, grapefruit juice and half a hot dog, half a soup, half a bread. Wednesday was gym. So no lunch, gym, and you had to run a half a mile before gym started, and then you had to do everything else that went on in gym. I was just lucky I didn't kill myself sooner. So Wednesday, I did my gym thing, come back home, 3:20, I'd have half a hot dog, half a bread, half a soup. And that went on until Saturday. Sunday, we'd start all over again. Sunday was a laxative. Monday, no food. Tuesday, grapefruit juice. I did have Wrigley's gum on Mondays, but Tuesdays was grapefruit juice, half a hot dog, half a bread, half a soup, and that went on till Saturday, and we started all over again. And that helped me to lose a lot of weight real quick. And I was at 175 pounds in high school, and I got down to 135 pounds, okay? And so I was trying to get down to like 120. I don't know why I needed to get down to 120, but I just wanted this super uber flat stomach. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get down to 120. So as I'm doing this each week, okay, 2 laxatives wouldn't work. 3 laxatives wouldn't work. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 laxatives. Sunday night. Monday morning, double mint gum. Tuesday afternoon, Monday evening, I started vomiting and I couldn't stop. And the diarrhea wouldn't stop. The vomiting wouldn't stop. I had no fluid, no water, no electrolytes in my body whatsoever. I was so sick, I called my mother upstairs. She couldn't even get me down the steps. My mother wrapped me in a blanket and dragged me down the steps and got me in the car with the help of one of the sergeants from Walter Reed Hospital who had come to pick my mother up on some other business at the hospital. And it was just fortunate that he was coming to pick her up in one of the military cars and take us up the street to Walter Reed. I only lived about 6, 7 blocks. So let me see. I lived about 10 blocks away from Walter Reed Hospital. And they got me to the hospital, the ER, and I was laying down on the bed, and all of a sudden they couldn't get a blood pressure on me. And I heard them say they could not get a blood pressure. And the only way they could get a blood pressure on me was to sit me up. I was so dehydrated, my blood pressure was so low, to sit me up would cause me to pass out. And so they were like, we can't get a blood pressure on her. So they said, sit her up. And they went to sit me up, and I sat up. First I was like, no, I can't. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to die. And I felt like I was dying. Everything just got black. And I begged them to please let me lay back down. I said, I can't sit up. I feel like I'm dying. If you've ever had that feeling before, you know what I'm talking about. But if you've never had that feeling before, it's something you don't want to experience. I felt like I was checking out, because the further they sat me up, the more it felt like I couldn't breathe. Everything was getting black. My eyes were wide open, but everything was getting black. I couldn't see anything. So then they laid me back down, and I seemed to be okay after that. So they put me in intensive care. My brother that I hadn't seen in I don't know how many years later on was standing over top of me. And I knew then I was getting ready to die, you know, because I'm like, why is he here? You know, he ain't been to see me in 3 years, and, you know, suddenly he's here. And my mother's crying, and she's all upset, and they would bring this tarp into the room that I was in, and they would roll me over on one side, and they put the tarp under my back, and then they roll me back over, and then it had a hook on it, and that's the way they weighed me. And they had to come in and weigh me every 2 hours. I don't know what that was about, but they weighed me every 2 hours, and they were pumping me with fluids, electrolytes, and all this stuff. And I stayed in intensive care for 2 days, and on the third day, they put me on the regular ward. They sent a psychiatrist to my room. I guess they thought I was, bulimic, or suffering from anorexia nervosa. I guess I was, I don't know. But anyway, I guess they heard everything that they wanted or needed to hear, because they didn't come back around. And I stayed on the regular ward for about 3 days, and then I went home. That was rough. So anyway, I never did that again. No, I'm lying, I did. I did try it a few more times. And unfortunately, I tried it with like 3 laxatives, and even the smell of the laxatives I was taking Correctol. Sorry guys, I had to call your name. But I was taking those, and when I took 2, nothing happened. When I took 3, nothing happened. I said, you know what, I'm not going up to 15 laxatives again. I'm not going to end up in that situation again. So yeah, that. I had tried a bunch of different diets from that point on. When that happened, I was about 16 years old. I was in the 10th grade. And yeah. So I decided I wasn't going to do that again. But at this point, I was still at 135 pounds. And, you know, I was still at a good weight for 5'7". But then after my second child was born, the weight didn't just come off, and I wasn't really working all that hard to get it off either. And then again, I ended up at 265 pounds. I had been on diets since my second child, and nothing was working. I had did this, I'd done that, I'd done the Slim Fast shakes, I had done the Dexatrim, which made my heart feel like someone was squeezing it, and I couldn't get a deep breath. No. Diet pills, no, not doing that again. So I had done everything with no results, no weight loss. And it was so discouraging. And I said, there's no way I can go on another diet, because if I go on another diet and if I don't lose any weight, I might do something drastic, because I was making all these great and wonderful elaborate plans. Okay, I'm going to run. I'm not going to eat tomorrow, but I'm going to just drink water the next day. I'm going to eat just cabbage today. I'm going to make the cabbage soup, and I'm going to make the water and the maple syrup and the cayenne pepper drink. And, you know, I had all these great elaborate plans, but it was just too much work. And I had 2 kids at the time. And then I got pregnant again. So it wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't work. Everything I tried wouldn't work. I went to the gym. I worked out. I had a gym buddy. It didn't help. My husband and I were working out together. It wasn't working. Nothing I did worked. Nothing. I even gained just enough weight so I could be exactly 100 pounds overweight, so I could get the weight loss surgery, because my insurance would pay for it. And I decided against it, because I got more information and learned more about weight loss surgeries and the complications you suffer with, the gallbladder issues, the low absorption issues. You can't absorb protein, so you got to eat all this extra protein. It's difficult for you to absorb this, so, you know, you have all these issues, all these problems, and then you have all this sagging and hanging skin because the weight loss occurs so quickly. So I didn't want that to happen. I decided against it. And I had insurance that would pay for my surgery, so I didn't even have to come out of my own pocket. Then we had two close friends. Well, one was really close. The other one I didn't really know that well. One of them, she went in, she had her surgery, she had a complication 2 days later, and the next day she was gone. Never even made it out the hospital. She just died. And then we knew someone else who had passed away from weight loss surgery. We knew her, but we weren't really that close to her. So I was at a loss. I didn't know what to do. So then someone told me about this video or a movie called Sick, Fat, and Nearly Dead, and I watched it. And then I watched Food Matters, Food Inc., and King Corn. I was scared. I was done. I was scared straight. That was a Friday. That Saturday, I went and bought fruits, vegetables, everything I needed to become a vegetarian. I was scared straight, and it happened for me overnight. It's not going to happen for everybody that way. I talk to people today, and I tell people what's in the food system, what's going on with our food system, and it doesn't bother them. They don't care. Some people don't scare as easily as I do, but I scare easy. And so, and on top of that, my mother, 3 of her sisters, and her mother all died from cancer. So knowing what I know about our food system and what's in it was an easy way for me. It was an easy motivation for me to change the way that I ate. So the documentaries, the information, the family history, all of that caused me to change the way that I ate. So I changed the way that I ate, and I decided to become a vegetarian. Now let me break it down for you, because there's a lot of confusion out here. There is a lot of confusion out here, and I feel bad for those who are stuck in the confusion. But if you are confused, and let me say this, because this is kind of going to be my mantra for you all and me this year. Don't listen to what I say. Research what I say, okay? And you should do that with anything that you hear or see, because see, I notice people get very comfortable. If they hear it on YouTube, if they see it on Facebook, if someone made a video about something, it must be true. And that seems to be the mindset of a lot of people. Don't believe what I say. Research what I say, because I have, okay? I've researched it. I'm not going to say something to you and I haven't researched what I'm telling you, okay? I became a vegetarian. I am not a vegan. I will most likely never be a vegan, okay? The difference is a vegetarian, and you have to look at the word. This is the way we were taught to read. This was the way we were taught to spell and put a word in a sentence and use it in a sentence. You look at the word, vegetarian, vegetable, vegetation, okay? Vegetarian means having to do with vegetation, okay? Milk, eggs, cheese, all that stuff that's considered dairy has nothing to do with vegetables. It has nothing to do with vegetation. But the food industry wanted to still be able to collect money, make money from those who were no longer eating meat. But they wanted to say, well, you know, milk is not actually meat, so it's part of a vegetarian's diet. This was their way of keeping more money in their pocket, because they were really concerned about losing a lot of their money based on those who were deciding to become vegetarians. But hold on, okay? Vegetarian has nothing to do with dairy products. Vegetarians do not eat dairy. They don't eat cheese, milk, ice cream, yogurt. Anyone who tells you that they are a vegan because they don't eat dairy, they're a little bit, they've been led astray a little bit, and they don't know, okay? And they'll argue with you, they'll argue with me, and they'll say, well, I'm going to show you the vegetarian way versus the vegan way. And actually, vegan has nothing to do with your diet. It has nothing to do with what you eat, okay? So vegetarians are people who eat nothing that comes from an animal. Milk, cheese, all of that comes from an animal. Vegetarians do not eat products that come from animals, okay? And if anyone tells you that vegetarians eat milk, cheese, then their diet is compromised. They are not getting the benefit of a true vegetarian diet if they're saying they're vegetarian and they're still eating dairy. Vegan means that you don't wear leather shoes, leather purses, leather bags. You don't use makeup that was tested on animals. That's what vegan means. I still wear leather shoes. If I decide I want to buy a pair of leather shoes, I'm going to buy it. If I want to buy a leather coat, I'm going to buy it. It's because you see, my reason for being a vegetarian had little to do with animal cruelty, although it probably should have some. It didn't have anything to do with it. It has to do with the way these animals are treated, the way that they're fed, how sick they are when they are sent to your grocer's market, what they do to the meat. Have you heard about meat glue? Meat glue, they are gluing pieces of meat together and making it look like something that it never was, okay? YouTube that, meat glue, okay? Meat glue, look it up. This is what they're doing to your food if you're eating meat, okay? And the stuff is poison, stuff is toxic. They won't even handle this stuff without gloves and goggles. But yet it's okay for you all to eat this stuff. Oh, God. Okay. So anyway, that's the difference between vegetarian and vegan. Like I said, don't believe what I say. Research what I say. You can contact the Vegan Society of Washington, D.C. You can contact the Vegetarian Society of Washington, D.C. They will tell you the same thing I just said. You can contact the Vegetarian Society of the United Kingdom, and they will tell you the same thing I just said in terms of what is a vegetarian versus a vegan. Okay? Okay. So, I decided to become a vegetarian. Now, if you're going to make that decision, and this is what I'm talking about because this is what I know, this is what I live, this has been my lifestyle, that's all I can talk to you about, is what I know and what I'm living, what I'm going through, what I've learned, okay? But if you're going to become a vegetarian, you have first got to learn how to become a vegetarian. You have got to know what foods you need to eat. You have to know what combinations. You need to have meal plans. And understand and know that being a vegetarian doesn't mean just eating salad and soup all the time. You will not be a healthy vegetarian. You will be a sickly vegetarian. And I know plenty of vegetarians who look very sickly because they're not eating a balanced and well-rounded vegetarian diet. And you can become very ill, very sick, and you can die. Because you've got to make sure you're getting all the nutrition that you need to have to function and live effectively and be homeostatic, okay? That's first and foremost. You have got to study how to be a vegetarian. You have got to learn all, different recipes and ways of cooking and eating as a vegetarian in order to be a healthy vegetarian. I tell people all the time, you have got to know why you've decided to become a vegetarian. You've got to know why you are going on a diet. And the only way you're going to know that is to read the books, watch the documentaries, and become informed. If you're not informed, anybody can come in and just knock you off your platform. And, it's just like someone, I tell people all the time, if you don't know why you love God, if you don't know why you honor and worship God, then anybody can come to you and say, well, last week you needed a car and you prayed and God didn't give you a car. You can't see him, you can't feel him, so he just don't exist. And you could be like, well, you know what? You're probably right. He probably don't exist. You don't know God's promises. You don't know why or understand why we worship and why we honor him. And without having read about him and having that relationship based on what you've learned and read, anybody can knock you off your platform. It's the same thing with becoming a vegetarian, because anybody can say to you, look, you're going to be sick. You're not getting any protein as a vegetarian. You're not getting your meat. And if you don't have protein, your heart's not going to beat right and you're going to die. Yeah, you're right. You know, I got to get protein. But see, when you're learned, when you are learned, when people approach you that way, you can come to them and say to them with the biggest and brightest smile, you know what? Thank you, but I happen to know otherwise. I happen to know that every fruit and vegetable, nut, legume, bean that I eat is a wonderful source of protein. As a matter of fact, the kale that I'm getting ready to put in my salad, the kale that I'm getting ready to fry up right now, has more protein than that 4-ounce piece of steak that you're about to eat. And unfortunately, your body has to weed through all the illness, all the sickness, all the steroids, all the antibiotics that cow had to eat. It has to weed through all of that before it gets that much protein. Yeah. Remind them of how big and muscular a gorilla is, okay? And that a gorilla could break a grown man's back in half. Gorillas don't eat meat. They can eat it. They've been known to eat it. But 98% of their diet, if they've got access to it, or 100% of their diet when they've got access to it, is vegetarian food. Look at these big bovine cows. They're supposed to be vegetarians, but they're feeding them poor animals marshmallows and dead cow. And that's how mad cow disease came about, was them feeding these cows dead cow to hurry up and fatten them for the slaughter. They didn't want to wait the 16, 17 months that it takes for a cow to mature. So they wanted to fatten them up quicker. So they were feeding them marshmallows, corn, things that they weren't even supposed to be eating. And these animals end up with diseases like acidosis. And that acidosis makes them very ill, very sick. And to keep them from getting ill and sick, they have to give them antibiotics, something called a 6-pack. And it's a whop of antibiotics that they give these animals. And that's why you hear them say, well, we're trying to fight off all these drug resistant, all these antibiotic resistant bugs, but it's not the antibiotic that's resistant, it's you that's resistant, because you are taking in that secondhand, not smoke, because, well, based on the same platform, just like secondhand smoke is more dangerous, more deadly to you when you're getting it secondhand, so is that secondhand antibiotic, because the chickens, the cows, the pigs, they're all getting the antibiotic, and you're getting secondhand antibiotic because you're eating their meat. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing. You're going to have to read, you're going to have to watch the documentaries, and I'm going to put some down below. Many of them are on YouTube. Some of them you can go to Netflix or whatever movie carrier that you use, and you can find these, and you can get more information. The more you know, the more you can change. The more you know, the more motivated you are to make those changes. But if you don't know that something is bad for you, you're not motivated to change. But once you know that what you're eating isn't good, that's a motivation to change. Now, I did a video not too long ago, or it might have been a while ago, 2 years ago. It was called That Selfish Bitch. And it was basically about me refusing to bring any other food into my home other than vegetarian foods. You know, and I would hear people say, oh, you got a husband, you need to consider his needs, you need to consider what he eats. That's so selfish, that's so wrong. You got to take care of your children, you got to take care of your husband. What kind of hypocrite would I be if I brought all this healthy food into my house and I continued to bring the junk in that got us fat, that got us sick, that got us high blood pressure, diabetes, and all those other things that the foods on our grocery shelves presently are filling us with? What kind of hypocrite would I be to continue to bring that kind of stuff in my house and let them eat that while I'm eating healthy and well? That would not be right. I want them healthy. I want them here with me. That's just hypocritical. Okay? Now, like I've said before, what my husband eats, what my children eat when they're outside of the house, that's what they eat. But when you come here, when you come into this house, This is what you get. This is what you will eat. This is your safe zone. There will be plenty of fruits, nuts, vegetables, beans, legumes, seeds, all of that stuff will be here in this house. This is your safe spot. And I will continue to make and create those things that will be palatable and satiating, because it has to be palatable. It has to taste good. Okay? And on top of that, it should look like something too. It shouldn't just look like some boo-boo. Okay? Okay. But I will continue to provide those things and offer these things and try and get them to taste these things. You know, I bought some banana chips from the grocery store a month or so ago. And I told my daughter to try them. And usually, you know, they're kind of, okay, you know, they don't really want to try it, but they know I'm going to pout if they don't. And they don't want to hear my mouth. They don't want to see me pout. So they'll pout. So they'll try it just to get me out of their face. So my daughter tried the chip, and she really didn't have too much to say. So then a week ago, my daughter and I at the store, she's like, can I get some banana chips? I said, sure, go ahead. Number one, she said, can I get some banana chips? That's a start. Number two, she comes back with not one, not two, not three, but 4 bags of banana chips. Because you know what she used to buy before the banana chips? She always wanted those Twizzlers. Twizzlers are made from cow hooves, animal hooves. They use the cow hooves, they grind it up into a powder, add water, and then you got the jelly, the jello, not the jelly, but the gelatin. That's what gelatin is made from. It's made from ground up cow hooves and water. So, good. She's eating the banana chips now instead of the Twizzlers. So, see, you take and you give. And when you're eating and changing and switching up your diet, for every one thing you take away, you should find 3 things to replace it. What I also tell people, and this thing about the video that I was talking about called That Selfish Bitch or whatever it was titled, I tell people only surround yourself and bring those kinds of foods into your home that are whole foods, foods that are whole just as they are. You can no longer bring processed foods in your home. You can no longer bring frozen foods into your home. You can no longer bring frozen vegetarian food, that tofurkey, that tempeh, that seitan, that TVP, the healthy gluten. Leave it alone, because it's all processed food. And this is why our metabolisms are not functioning. Our metabolisms are shutting down, slowing down because of medications that we take. Our metabolisms are shutting down, slowing down because of the foods that we eat that contain additives, derivatives, preservatives, all these things that our bodies were never meant to ingest in the first place. Okay, so you've got to remove those foods because they have powerful toxins in them that are shutting down your metabolism. And see, what people think is that the metabolism is this box inside of us. You know, and I hear people, and I know they believe that's the concept of what metabolism is, because I hear people say things like, well, you got to eat every 2 hours to rev up your metabolism. Number one, you should not be eating every 2 hours. That is a myth. It's a farce. It's a good way to get you sick. It's a good way to get you fat and keep you at the doctor's office. And that's just the way they want it. You should not be eating every 2 hours. You should not be eating every 3 or 4 hours. Okay? 1 to 2 meals a day is enough for any and everybody except for babies, okay? Babies need plenty of fat, healthy fat. There's a difference between good fat, bad fat, trans fat, non-trans fat, what's the other fats? Hydrogenated fats. There's, so you know, younger children, yes, they need to eat more. But after the age of 15, 16, 17, you only need 1 to 2 meals a day. That's it. I don't eat breakfast. I can't eat before 1 o'clock, okay? So I eat my first meal sometime after 1 o'clock. And after that meal, sometimes I don't even eat anything after that. But I drink plenty of water, plenty of ginger and turmeric and lemon tea. That's my new thing. I'm going to show you how I make that. That is the bomb, and it's so good for you. Anyway. So keep only whole foods, foods that are whole just as they are. anything that's frozen, anything that is in a box that has more than 2 ingredients is most likely a processed food, okay? And again, our metabolism is not this little box in our body that metabolizes and separates the bad stuff and helps us hold on to the nutrition and releases everything else. No, our metabolism is made up of our mouth, our teeth, our heart, lungs, kidneys, pancreas, spleen, liver, kidneys. All of that makes up our metabolism. And these derivatives, additives, preservatives that are being put into our food are causing our hearts and liver and pancreas, all of these organs to be compromised. And if your liver and kidneys are not functioning properly, your metabolism is not going to function properly. You're not going to be able to metabolize your food at an appropriate rate, okay? So I need you to know that, all right? So keep only healthy, whole foods in your home. You've got to get rid of all the junk. The mayonnaise, the ketchup, and you know, if you want mayonnaise, make your own. And there's so many other ways to make mayonnaise. You don't have to have mayonnaise with it. You can make mayonnaise out of cashews, macadamias, pistachios. You can make mayonnaise out of potatoes, carrots, fruits, all kinds of stuff. Just something creamy to make your sandwich not so dry, okay? There's so many different ways to make a mayonnaise or a spread for your bread if that's what you gotta have, okay? You just gotta get creative, and there's so many other alternatives. Just gotta get in the kitchen and play. What else do I want to tell you? Keep only whole and healthy foods in your home. Now, once you've got the whole and healthy foods in your home, and hallelujah, some people done caught on. I made a video, 2 videos. One was called Portion Control Does Not Work. And there was another one about portion control or weighing your food or something like that. But thank you, Lord, some people done finally caught on. They done finally caught on, because I've been saying for years, when you're eating whole foods, when you're eating what you're supposed to be eating, you don't have to weigh your foods. You don't have to have a cup of this and a cup of that, and because I've seen people do it. I done seen them weighing their food. I done been there, okay? But if you've got to weigh your food, if you've got to portion control your food, then it's stuff that you should not be eating in the first place. Yeah. But sometimes it takes people a while before they get or understand what you're saying, because sometimes people really ain't listening to you. I got it, I get it, and I'm pulling up the, come on now. I'm giving you the information, but you ain't hearing. Come on now, I'm giving you the information, but you're just not listening. But some people done finally got it. When you're eating whole and healthy foods, you don't have to portion control. You don't have to weigh your food. I'm glad some of y'all done caught on, because it took y'all a little bit of time, but it's okay, because I'm patient, okay, I am. Woo, Lord, it took a long time, but it's all good. It's all good. Some of us is now on the same page. Took a minute. When you're eating healthy, whole foods, you can eat when you want to eat. If you want to eat at 3 o'clock in the morning and you decide you want a plate of cayenne carrots, or you want a half a pound of some mixed mustard green, collard green, and kale, at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can eat it if you want to. Some people don't sleep at night. Some people work the midnight graveyard shift. Some people is up working at the hospital, so of course they eating at midnight, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You think their metabolism is going to stop because they work and got to eat at that time? No, stop with the foolishness and the madness. Think about what you're saying. Whew! Jesus. All right. I'm being silly, but I'm not. But I'm not. Listen to what I'm telling you. Don't believe what I say. Research what I say, okay? Okay. Anyway, And again, that moderation thing, if you have to eat in moderation, is something you should not be eating in the first place. You mean to tell me I can only have a half a carrot and I can only have 1 carrot a day? That's all I can have? Really? Because I'm going to gain all this weight if I eat 6 carrots today? Come on now. Think about what you're saying. Think about what you're thinking. Okay? Okay? All right. Let's see. I got notes here, because if I don't have notes, I'm gonna go off into another direction, and I won't be on point. And I want to be on point for you all, because I have a lot to talk to you all about. And one of the other things that I wanted to say is, don't accept the labels that people put on overweight, fat, obese, morbidly obese, super morbidly obese. Don't accept the labels that tell you that you're a food addict, you're a food junkie. That is just, those labels are what keep us comfortable, okay? Those labels keep us comfortable in being fat. Oh, well, I'm fat because I'm sick. I'm not fat because I eat too much. I'm fat because I'm sick. It's a medical condition. No, you are fat because you are malnourished. You're fat because you are suffering from malnutrition. You are fat because you are suffering from the same kind of malnutrition that you see those children with the pot bellies over in the Sudan and Darfur. Same concept. They suffer with the same illnesses that someone who weighs 500 plus pounds does, because they are malnourished. They are malnourished. When you're 500 pounds and you've eaten 2 Big Macs, 2 large fries, 2 apple pies, and a large Coke, diet please, and 2 hours later, you are hungry again. You want to know why? Because all that you took in filled your belly, but it gave you no nutrition. And because you have no nutrition, and that's what your body needs and craves in order to be homeostatic, you're going to continue to feel like I'm hungry. You hear people start out at the beginning of the day, beginning of the day, and they say, well, I had an egg, I had 1 piece of bacon, and I had some water and some coffee, and I was fine. And then for lunch, I had a salad, and I had some rice cakes, and I had some tea with no sugar. Okay? And then they come home and have a piece of fish or maybe a protein shake, and they make their last meal 5 or 6 p.m. And then 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 roll around, and they are starving, and they are fighting, and they are crying because they ate so well, so they believe, throughout the day. And now they're upset because at 2 o'clock in the morning, they're starving. They are absolutely ravenous. Why is that? I'm going to tell you, because I know you want to know. We are so busy zeroing ourselves out at the grocery store. What do I mean when I say that? We pick up the Diet Coke, 0 calories, 0 cholesterol, 0 sodium. We pick up the rice cake, 0 cholesterol, 0 sodium, 0 fat. We pick up the muffins with no sugar, no fat, no sodium. We've zeroed ourselves out, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. Did we bother to look at that label and ask, where's the vitamin A, B, C, D, E, H, K, riboflavin, niacin, thiamine, copper, zinc, manganese, magnesium? Did we look on the label for any of that stuff to see if any of that stuff was there? No. You know why? Because they don't tell us that stuff. Most of that stuff isn't on the label. When we go to the grocery store now, all we want to know is how many calories, how much sugar, how much sodium, how much fat. That's all we worry about. We don't look at the nutritional content, and that's what you need to consider. And that's why so many of us are always hungry, because we buy all these foods that are 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0 across the board, but we don't know about the nutrition. And the nutrition is what we need. That's what our body is looking for. Hey, I could eat 100 of these face puffs to clean my face. I could eat 100 of these and fill my stomach up. My stomach would feel full. But an hour later, although my stomach felt full, an hour later, I'm going to be hungry again. Why? Because my body is craving and looking for nutrition. Again, the vitamin A, B, C, D, E, H, K, riboflavin, niacin, thiamine, manganese, copper, zinc, all these things that we need to have in order to be healthy, homeostatic, in order for our metabolism to function properly, we have to have these nutrients. Your metabolism is not going to function properly if you have a vitamin D deficiency, if you have a vitamin B12 deficiency. There are a lot of vitamins that impact your body's ability to metabolize food. And if you have these deficiencies because you're not making these considerations when you shop for your food at the grocery store, then you're going to have a problem with losing weight. Okay? So I am the Sassy Green Garden Diva. I hope this is enough information to get you started for now. I'm going to come back and focus in on a couple of things that I've touched on today in this video. But like I said, I didn't want to give you too much, but I wanted to give you enough just to motivate you and get you started, get you going. Because, you know, this is January. This is the month where we say we're going to make resolutions. We're going to change. We're going to make our goals. We're going to do better this year. We're going to lose the weight. But if you don't have a platform or a basis to do so, it won't happen. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I'm living, what I've lived. This has been my lifestyle. This is not a diet that I'm on. This has been a lifestyle change for me, and I'm comfortable in it. And I want to tell you this also. If you're considering becoming a vegetarian, if you're considering losing weight, and that's what changed things for me, I decided that I'm not going to go on a diet. This was not going to be a diet because I knew I would not be successful. I had to make up my mind and say and know and believe, because that's all there is for me. I had to know and believe I want to be healthy. I didn't come to the table wanting to lose weight. That was not my mission, goal, or objective. I wanted to be healthy. And when I would go to the grocery store and shop, I thought about everything that I picked up and put into my grocery cart. And I thought, is this healthy? Is this going to be, that's healthy. That's going to be good for me. This has a lot of vitamin C. This has a lot of iron. This has a lot of nutrients. This has a lot of fiber. This has this. And I surround myself with these things in my home. And a lot of times these things are sitting in my home and I'm like, what am I going to do with all this? How am I going to put this together so that it is palatable and satiating to me and those that are eating here? How am I going to bring this all together? There's tons of videos on YouTube. And for those people that are sitting at home day in and day out, it's a shame and a sin if you don't know how to cook. You sitting at home on your butt and you're watching YouTube and you're not watching any food videos? Come on now. You don't know how to cook? Come on. Gotta help yourself. Oh, another thing I want to tell you, this is so important. This is so important. Don't hold other people responsible for your weight loss. Don't hold other people responsible for you getting healthy. Don't come to any particular platform and say, you know what, I'm going on this health journey. I want you to hold me responsible if I don't eat this, if I don't lose 10 pounds by the next time I put up another video, if I don't do this, if I don't do that, I want you to hold me accountable. No. Wait until you've got some goals under your belt. Wait until you've got some accomplishments accomplished before you come back and start to talk about what it is that you're doing. In other words, what I'm saying to you, when you decide to go on this mission, don't tell nobody. Because people will have the crudest, rudest things to say to you if you don't meet your goals. And you don't need any more of that. Because as fat people, overweight, obese, we have enough people, enough negative writing against us as it is. We don't need any more. Keep it to yourself. And do not hold or have anybody else be responsible for your weight loss or lack thereof. Because it's going to backfire against you. I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've been through, and I'm telling you what I watch and see other people go through. Okay? how they talk about they're on this weight loss mission, and then when they don't lose the weight, people come back and say all kinds of cruel, hurtful, nasty, and mean things to them because they didn't meet a goal. They didn't meet a benchmark. It's not their business. Keep that on the low. That's your business. Don't have anybody else be responsible. Don't you hold anybody else responsible for your success or lack thereof, because it's going to be a failure all the way around. Keep your weight loss, keep your healthy journey as simple as possible. And the best way to keep it simple is, like I told you, clear your home of all the junk. I don't give a damn if your husband likes those Dorito ranch flavored chips. They can't come in the house no more. I don't give a darn if your kids like those high fructose corn syrup sippy aluminum bags. I don't care if they like those. I don't care if they like the concentrated juices. Concentrated juices are not good for you. Those juices loaded up with high fructose syrup, high fructose corn syrup are not good for you. Get all of that stuff out of your house, your life. It has no place. If you are trying to become healthy and homeostatic, those products have no place in your life or in your home. I don't care if your pastor comes by every Sunday after church and likes those Cinnabons that you have from the Cinnabon store. Sorry about that, Cinnabon, but I don't care. This is about you getting healthy, and everything else is a distraction for you. Everything else is a challenge for you. Everything else is going to detract or distract you away from your goal, your mission. Don't bring that stuff in your house. I don't care who eats it. I don't care who likes it. If you're trying to get healthy, how can you be trying to get healthy and not trying to take and bring your family with you too? How selfish is that? As a woman, as a mother, you can't be that selfish. My husband is all man too, but he's my man, and I want to keep him here with me. I want him to be healthy here with me. So what he eats out there, that's on him. He knows how I want and prefer him to eat. But when he's here, this is the safe zone. Plenty of fruit, vegetables, and all kinds of other stuff that I prepare, put together, and cook. That's it for now. I am the Sassy Green Garden Diva. Again, like I said, I hope this helps. I hope this has been a motivation for you. Look right down here below. I'm going to put some documentaries that you can read. That you can watch or listen to at least. I think it's easier for people to listen because, you're busy, you're doing things, and you can just turn it on. You can listen and get the information and be the motivation for you to make your change this year, 2016.